Raider Nation Training Camp. The energy is real and it's building fast. Raider Nation Training Camp has officially arrived. And things aren't just moving, they're flying. We're talking roster battles that could genuinely surprise people. Undrafted free agent stories that'll give you goosebumps, depth chart puzzles with no easy answers. And, most importantly, what we're actually watching Fernando Mendoza do every single day out there on that practice field. Because honestly, the early buzz coming out of camp is exactly the kind of news this fan base has been starving for, heading into what could truly be a season that changes everything for this franchise. There's plenty to dig into, so let's just get right into it. Mendoza. The man, the mindset, the moment. We start with Mendoza, because everything else on this team flows downstream from what happens at the quarterback spot. And what we're witnessing from this young man in these opening days of camp is hand on heart. Everything you could possibly want from a #1 overall pick stepping into his very first NFL training camp. The poise, the grind, the humility, the way he naturally commands a room without even trying. It's all there. And it's showing up in ways that go way beyond the box score or the highlight reel. Here's a detail that says everything about who Fernando Mendoza is as a person. He turned down a White House visit. Think about that for a moment. He's a rookie. He was just selected first overall. The entire football world has his name in its mouth. And what does he do with that moment? He stays at the facility, gets extra reps in, and keeps his nose buried in the playbook. That's not a coaching staff decision. Nobody pulls a player aside and says, "Skip the photo op." That kind of choice comes from somewhere deep inside, from a young man who knows exactly where he is in his journey and what this moment demands of him. That, Raider Nation, is the mark of a guy who's built differently. On top of that, he's showing up before official practice even kicks off to take snaps, both under center and out of the shotgun, specifically to build chemistry with center Tyler Linderbaum. Let that sink in. Both of them are brand new to this team. Both of them are absorbing a brand new offense from scratch. And instead of waiting for the scheduled sessions to do that work, Mendoza is already in there early, building timing, building communication, building the kind of trust that a quarterback and center need to truly click at a high level. You don't do that if you're just trying to survive camp and collect a paycheck. You do that if you're trying to win. Physically, the people who've seen him in person are walking away genuinely impressed. 6'5", north of 230 pounds, a textbook pocket passer frame. Big body, long arms, enough muscle to take a hit and keep those eyes locked downfield. His arm strength has actually exceeded what the skeptics were projecting. He's not going to be chucking 70-yard moonballs every other play, but this is a quarterback who can thread the ball into every single window this offense requires. He fits like a glove into what Clint Kubiak wants to run. A West Coast system built on timing, rhythm, and lightning-quick decision-making. And what we're seeing in camp is a guy who's absorbing that system at a pace that's genuinely ahead of schedule. The comparisons making the rounds right now? Sam Darnold's movement and athleticism blended with Jared Goff's size and frame. And honestly, I think that's a fair and useful starting point. Not a ceiling, just a reference. Darnold, as we all know, is a guy whose entire career got flipped upside down the moment he landed in the right system with the right people around him. He needed the right situation to become the quarterback we always believed he could be. Mendoza? He's walking into that right situation on day one. The coaching is right. The system is right. The veteran presence around him is right. The foundation couldn't be much stronger for a young quarterback coming into this league. The quarterback competition, let's be honest about it. Now, the starting quarterback debate. And yes, I know this conversation has a life of its own and never really goes away no matter how many times we circle back to it. The real read from camp right now is that Kirk Cousins is still leaning toward taking that Week 1 starting nod. And before anyone reacts to that emotionally, Let me give you my actual, honest take, because the nuance really does matter here. There is a legitimate argument for letting a quarterback sit, watch, and absorb the professional game from the sideline before you throw him into the fire. 15 or 20 years ago, that was just standard procedure. First-round quarterbacks waited their turn. They were shielded from the chaos until the coaching staff genuinely felt they were ready. And the counter-argument is that we basically broke an entire generation of young signal callers by tossing them into rough situations way too soon without the right support structure around them. Sam Darnold himself is the cautionary tale everyone points to. Tossed into a nightmare situation in New York before he was ready. Beaten up physically and mentally. Career nearly finished before his 26th birthday. He needed patience. He needed the right situation. And when he finally got it, we all saw what happened. So yes, I get the instinct to protect Mendoza. I genuinely understand why some people inside that building feel that letting Cousins manage the early weeks while Mendoza continues developing behind him is the responsible call. And if Cousins genuinely wins that competition, if he proves through everything camp throws at both of them that he's clearly the better option right now, then you play Cousins. Simple as that. Best player plays. That's always the right answer. But, and here's where I'm planting my flag, if Mendoza earns that job, if he goes through camp and shows this coaching staff he's ready to run this offense from week 1, then you start him. And when you do, you commit to at least 10 games before making any sweeping judgments. Not 5, not 3, 10. Because anything less than 10 games isn't a real sample size. It's a panic window. And young quarterbacks cannot grow inside panic windows. They need breathing room. They need the freedom to make mistakes without constantly glancing over their shoulder at the veteran warming up on the sideline. The difference between what happened to the Sam Darnolds of the world and what should happen with Mendoza isn't about whether you start him immediately or wait a few weeks. The real difference is organizational commitment. Do you fully believe in this player or don't you? Because if Fernando Mendoza is truly the future of this franchise, and I believe he is, then you back that up with your actions. You give him the reps. You give him the games. You give him the genuine support system that lets him grow into the player you drafted him to be. That's how franchise quarterbacks are built. It's the only way it's ever worked. The secondary. From embarrassment to actual strength. Let's slide over to the rest of this roster, because there's genuinely a lot cooking across the depth chart, especially in the secondary. And this might be the most exciting part of what this team is becoming. Jermaine McCollum, the cornerback the Raiders picked up at 101 with first-round talent and an ACL tear in his recent history, is practicing. He's out there. The knee is holding. The elite athleticism that had scouts drooling before the injury is on full display. Some evaluators believe this kid was the most likely candidate to be the first corner taken in the entire draft class had he stayed healthy. Getting him in the 4th round and watching him actually compete in camp? That's exactly the kind of lottery ticket you're hoping for when you make that pick. He will be a starter for this team. Maybe not week 1. Maybe not even this season, depending on how that knee handles a full workload. But the talent is absolutely there to be a legitimate number 1 corner in this league. Get him healthy, get him developed, and just watch. Stokes is another name generating serious buzz. Elite speed, real physicality, genuine versatility. The kind of box safety who can slide down and stuff the run, but also has the athleticism to hold his own in open space. That position has been a weak link for the Raiders for years. Stokes looks like exactly the guy this defense has been missing at that spot. When you step back and look at this secondary compared to what we were watching 2 or 3 years ago, when Raiders corners were practically leading the league in touchdowns, surrendered and catches given up. The turnaround is genuinely jaw-dropping. The third and fourth corners on this roster right now are better players than who was starting for this team not long ago. Steve Spagnuolo and Clint Kubak have legitimately fixed this secondary. That's not hype. That's just what the evidence in front of us is saying, what a real secondary means for Max Crosby. And here's what all of that means for the pass rush, specifically for Max Crosby.